Thank you, everybody, for joining us today in our esteemed panel. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Katy Ruckle, the State Chief Privacy Officer, and I'm excited to be able to moderate a panel. I'm normally on the other side of this, and this is very fun. Be in control. No, I mean. So the panel is going to talk about modernization, and as Bill was talking about today, and as I think another speaker just mentioned during the short talks about transforming how we serve our residents and the importance of modernizing in collaboration with public and private partnerships. And so that's why we have such a great panel here today to talk about some of the successes and the ongoing work we have in this area of modernization for the state of Washington. So I am going to allow the panel to introduce themselves. We'll start with Cami down at the end.
Yeah, hi everyone, I'm Cami Nas. I am the Director of Human-Centered Design at Anthrotech. We are a human-centered design consultancy. We're based in Olympia, been around for about 25 years. And we serve governments and nonprofits and other enterprises with a social impact mission.
Hello everyone, I'm Wendy Wickstrom. I'm WATEC's Chief Digital Experience Officer, and I, along with Cami and a whole bunch of other people, are leading our WA.gov initiatives to build a better customer experience. Thank you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jason Caffrey. I am one half of the account management team for the state of Washington, along with Zoe, who's here in the front row. Excited to be here and share a little background on our work with DFW and the concepts of modernization.
Sounds good. Mopina Raza, Operations and Infrastructure Executive at the Department of Fish and Wildlife. I'm running some of the AI/ML initiatives.
Very excited.
Good afternoon, Emily Beck. I'm the Deputy Director at the Office of Financial Management. I'm Executive Sponsor for the One Washington Project. I'm sure none of you have heard of it. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Tim McCormick, Workday. Thank you, Katie. Thank you, Emily. Thank you, panel members. It's great to be here. I look after our government team nationally, so I'm delighted to be in. I was going to say Olympia, but I'd come to learn it's Lacey. So I'm delighted to be here.
Real insider tip there.
I'm learning from the Ubers. I'm not going to Olympia.
Okay, so we're going to dive right into the case studies. And so if we go to the next slide, I don't know who has control. Oh, here we are. So you're on, Wendy.
Okay, perfect. Well, we already introduced ourselves. So we are here today to talk about WA.gov and taking that from a vision to almost reality coming very soon. So this all did start with a vision. You heard a lot about WA.gov today, called Resident Portal by both Mark and Bill. But we're calling it WA.gov, and I'll explain why in a little while. But it did start with a vision that Bill shared of creating an Amazon-like experience in government. It's not a new problem that we're trying to solve. I've been working with government for over 20 years, and we've been working together to try to solve problems like this for over 20 years, right? But now is the right time. And it's the right time because we have leaders who are leaning in to focusing on customer service, to prioritizing customer experience. And we have a governor who's leaning in to customer experience, and an awesome, so exciting new executive order from the governor requiring us to be here and do this. And we are set up to do it. So really, we together are turning that vision into a reality as we build the future experience for customers on WA.gov. We are aligning with that CXEO to amplify access and ease and remove the barriers that stand between our customers and them getting the vital services that you all provide. There are a lot of states, maybe all the states, also trying to do this. We're not alone in this. We all know that this is a priority, and we are here to serve and make the lives better for those people that we serve. But we may be doing it a little differently than others because we are using a full human-centered design approach and have been since we started the vision. So we'll talk more about that today. This is about collaboration with our amazing vendor partners. We have built a multidisciplinary team. We have 10 vendor partners who are engaged with us on this effort right now. And we talk to so many of you every day about how you can also help. We have a really tiny team actually in the state that is working on this. So 5 of those partners are engaged on our core team and working and contributing to this effort daily. Our team consists of OCM, UX, business analysts, of course, all the technical from security to architecture to developers, and then of course PMs and leadership. So a multidisciplinary core team that is working on this day in and day out. And from the start, we've focused and prioritized user experience and accessibility so that everything we're designing and developing is being tested for both along the way, not at the end. We've had almost 3,000 Washington residents, businesses, people that are customers of Washington State participate in various user research activities that we've done to date and helping us to define, build the vision and design the system that is going to work the best for them. So we are fully agile, moving super rapidly, iterating very often. And it hasn't been perfect. Lord knows it has not been perfect. And we've learned quite a few things. But Cami, who is our UX lead on the project, maybe you could share how we're doing agile and HCD in this project.
Yeah, I'm happy to. Human-centered design is kind of my bread and butter, and Anthrotech's bread and butter. And using that approach means that we are designing for actual end user needs, trying to solve an actual problem, not prioritizing or making decisions based on our business goals or our business objectives. As you just heard, there are a lot of different experts required to put together a digital product or a service. And to get all those people rowing in the same direction, we've got to have a really good vision. And it has to be clear. And the base of it, the key of human-centered design is that the base of that vision, it does revolve around an actual end user need. If it were to be revolving around business requirements, as you all know, we do work in silos, even within our own agencies. So those business requirements, those goals of each of those silos are not the same. And I think that's okay, right? Like you have your own business and you're working toward what you need to do in your business. You've got to find a common ground in order to align on your vision. And finding that common ground in a user need, and serving and improving the lives of people is kind of what we all are here to do. So finding that common ground and that helps bring everybody together and helps make better decisions. So I chose a couple kind of insights that I wanted to share related to this. First, Wendy mentioned it a little bit, moving user research left in the project timeline, doing it sooner allows you to define what that vision is based in something solid. For Modernizing, we started way back in 2020, and we really ramped up over the last year and a half, but we did research with end users, of course. We created personas to really help bring those end users to the table in the decision making, help everybody understand who it is that we're designing for. We had a lot of comparative review and conversations with other state agencies that are also trying to solve these same problems, and they didn't all start in the same way that we did, so we're able to sort of learn from each other's paths and mistakes. And then doing a lot of visioning, proof of concept activities to tell the story. What is the user story? Here are some prototypes you can look at so you can see the visual of what it's going to look like, and that pilots and demos, and that brings everybody along in what we're trying to do, and that helps with collaboration. And then the second thing that's really, it's not easy to make something that is so complex feel simple and intuitive. That takes a long time, and that takes a lot of work. Especially with all the different experts that it requires and all of their different perspectives. So my advice is to have a UX lead of some sort who is responsible, in charge of the user experience front to end, and is going to help you to design what your experience is going to look like before you start building it. Because what it's going to look like and what that experience is going to be is what you can then take and break up into some pieces and have some like achievable, demonstrable steps in the process toward achieving your vision. You got to know what that vision is first. So have a UX lead, somebody that can make sure that it stays a holistic, seamless experience rather than what I see a lot, which is a very Frankenstein kind of experience. This group worked on this group worked on this, and now we're stitching it together at the end. That doesn't work very well, and the users can see right through that. It's very obvious when you're on the outside looking in. Yeah, so Wendy, what about you? What kind of lessons learned do you have for us?
I still have a few.
I did, yeah, 2 minutes.
Oh, okay. All right. So I have absolutely learned and relearned a number of important lessons on this project. The first and I think most important is that you learn more by putting something in people's hands early, something that's not perfect. You learn more by, thank you, Tobias, by putting it in their hands and letting them tell you what works and what doesn't, than you do spending days, months, weeks, years gathering requirements before you start designing something. Our customers honestly can't tell you necessarily. If you ask them in a survey, which I love surveys, we do a ton of them, right? But if you ask them in a survey what they want from something, they'll say something. And then you'll deliver that to them and they'll put their hands on it and they'll be like, no, this is not what I was thinking, right? Like, this doesn't work for me. Why'd you do this? Until it's in their hands, you can't figure out if it works. So we learned this a number of times, right? We had to listen to our customers, use the data, and change a number of times. Like in the last 6 months, we've been wrong, like a number of times, right? Which is okay, as long as we're willing to change. The first of those is, if you've seen our roadmap, you might have seen that we're gonna brand our AI as Bigfoot Bot, which was awesome. Bill was not a big fan. I love Bigfoot. I thought it was a fantastic idea. We went and took that to customers, and some of them thought it was pretty cute and funny, right? Some of them thought it was cool. A lot of them thought that it really made our AI chatbot not trustworthy, right? It really, they didn't trust something that was named Bigfoot Bot because Bigfoot isn't real. You're not going to give me real information, right?
This is really different.
I thought Bigfoot was real.
Well, I also do, but that's sort of the topic, right? So our chatbot is not named Bigfoot Bot, and I was sad about it. I really was very sad about it, but it's named Ask Law because that's what our customers told us we should name it, so we did. The other was one I mentioned earlier. We aren't calling this the resident portal anymore. We're still training our leadership on not calling it the resident portal anymore, but we are calling it WA.gov because, number one, we heard from y'all, our agencies, that the word resident was very exclusionary to a lot of the customers that work with the state, like businesses and professions. And then number two, we heard from our customers that they think of WA.gov as everything that we do as government. And WA.gov is a brand that they trust, and it's what they want to trust. They don't need a new flashy name, right? So WA.gov is it. It's not the most exciting story for me to tell. Look, we have WA.gov. We've had it forever, right? But it makes sense, and it is putting something, it's meeting our customers' expectations. So I only had 2 minutes. I have more examples of when we've been wrong and how we've changed, but
I think there'll be opportunity to get into some of these challenges.
All right, one thing, bottom line, right? Don't wait to engage your customers. Do it now, do it often, and when you hear from them, be prepared to change.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Wendy.
What's the name of our new chatbot?
Ask Law.
Ask Law.
Yes.
Awesome. So next we get to hear from Jason and Mabina about their case study with the Department of Fish and Wildlife.
Sounds good. Thank you, Katy. So the topic of today is the modernization services and innovation. And we have been partnering with AWS as we stood up AWS roughly a year ago. Within a year, we have come so far, and we have been able to leverage some of the services that AWS have to offer natively. Today, I would like to talk about 3 of some of those initiatives that we're leading into. First one is the Knowledge AI information provider. I'm not going to call it Q because Q might not resonate with other people, but knowledge augmentation and knowledge availability is such a crucial part, and I'll share an example of that one. Second one, most of us deal with PDFs and don't know how to extract that data and convert it into a usable information in tabular format. We successfully did that within 7 days. I'll share how. And then the last one, should the time permit, we'll talk about the computer vision and machine learning that we are leveraging with partners like AWS and University of Washington. So for the first one, I would like to talk about the value that we were able to bring to table because of standing up a Q app. It took our staff 4 hours to put this information together. It costed us $3 to $8 to use, and I have put the annual cost over here, including all the infrastructure and the data centers, like $100 per user if we talk about 50 users, and it can grow less. And the last one is two users, one technical person who stood up, one the business unit who went and had a conversation with the users. One success story I would like to share over here is that in February, we went to our executive team and said, we would like to empower you with the AI and machine learning technical jargons that you will hear from the vendors and the contractors and other people, but might not be able to distinguish what is AI, what is machine learning. So we built that workshop. In that workshop, we sneaked in that Q app based on this question. So when AI came into fruition, not just the AI, but the generative AI, our executives, the biggest fear was that how will my agency's data be exposed to the larger ML? And to address that one, we built a RAG application, not this RAG, but retrieval augmented generation, where your data is indexed into a database, in a vector database. And then an embedding engine, when you ask a query, an embedding engine go out, fetch your data, and then hand it off to the foundation model that then converts it into a story that's easier to understand with the resources where it's pulling up the information from. So we were able to work with Jason, and as I said, one team, 4 hours, and we were able to bring in a decade's worth of data, commission-based data, in front of our executives. With the workshop, when they had on their fingertips the ability to search about what decisions did we make about bears in the last 10 years, and that whole information was in their hands, that was such an empowering moment, and that has brought those executives went to their teams and said, go talk to Mobina or Jack or Matt Oram to build some of these applications, and that was a light bulb moment for them. Jason, what would you like to add there?
Yeah, I'd like to know, the conversation with Matt, the first one was a little over 2 years ago, and it started with, he had a very clear vision for what he wanted to do to unlock the data and insights from this agency. They've got research reports that go back almost 100 years that are in paper form. They've got access database. They've got field-based data that's out in remote corners of Washington that don't have internet access. So it's a very unique problem, but a lot of the same barriers still exist of, this is my data, it's very siloed. So he had a very compelling vision two plus years ago. He put this out in a vision statement, and although things changed dramatically in 2 years, from funding going away to don't even bother submitting a POC to, hey, how are we gonna get this done? The outcome and the vision never changed. So I would say definitely remain really firm on your vision and just be flexible in the pathway that's gonna get you there. I think one thing that's changed a lot in the last few years that we sometimes lose sight of, you're gonna start seeing it. And it isn't so much just Gen AI, it's what is being unlocked behind the scenes with regards to this concept of modernization. And specifically, when I talk to CIOs about modernization, usually they're like, well, can't do it. We don't have $25 million and 150 people standing around doing nothing. And we are changing that paradigm right now to be, modernization is a very small microservices type effort. We've got an organization we're working with that has a mainframe, and we're going to peel off one little corner of it to fix a compliance issue they have and federal reporting requirements. And AI is basically going to allow us to do an assessment, build in hooks so that as far as the mainframe goes, that workload is still there doing the same thing. All the same information that needs to flow is still there, and yet they can now go modernize this one little tiny piece. And it's going to cost a fraction of what it would cost to modernize the mainframe and a fraction of the time. We're talking like 3 months probably. So incredible. When you think of modernization, realize you can do it. The times have changed dramatically.
Sounds good. And I would like to start with the second example. For 6 months, our admin staff were advised to enter the information of where each person's duty station is. Keep in mind, Department of Fish and Wildlife, our duty stations are spread across the entire state. We could not get to a consensus or to accurate data. Sometimes it was fat fingering, sometimes the data was not accurate. So then the question I asked is like, where is that data currently? It's in the PDF form and we cannot extract it. So with the help of Jason and his engineering team, again, one developer, one architect from our side, 2 engineers from Jason's team. Within 7 days, we stood up an entire architecture to extract the data from the PDF, convert it into a tabular format, spin that, and then once we were done with it, we spun that whole thing down. End-to-end 7 days, it costed us $20 to extract that information that we were not able to extract for 6 months. And the last one, because I'm gonna be short on time and I'm going to be very sensitive here. Currently, as Jason mentioned, we were not able to get the $6.7 million legislative ask that we put out there. So to be creative, our scientists, DFW scientists, can go out in the field and bring 80 terabytes of data in one season. It is mostly drone, underwater ROVs, game cameras. So, and then our scientists come back, 18 to 20 hours a week, IS-2 monitor, throughout that footage, then they identify where which species is, and then convert it into an access database. There's a better way to do it. What we are doing with the help of Jason and University of Washington, we are doing 2 computer vision ML projects where, for one, the game cameras, the students are going to create an ML where they are able to identify species from that game to camera footage. The second one is that it's responsibility of the DFW that when the fish come back, the hatcheries fish are segregated from the wild fish to maintain the ecosystem of the wild fish and to ensure that the integrity stays in place. Currently, a scientist have to pull up a scale, monitor it, and those fish scales does have, just like the circles of the tree, those fish scales have those circles, and the ones that are raised in hatcheries are different from the ones that are wild. By looking at those scales, they can identify the age of those fish as well. So we are building an ML model where instead of waiting for those very expensive scientists, every 80 plus hatcheries across the state can have an ML system where they pluck a scale, put it under a microscope, and the machine can identify what's the age and what's the origin of the fish. And should we put it in the wild side or should we put it in the hatchery side? And do we need to close which river because the age of the fish that's returning is not appropriate? So there are so many decisions that we made on conservation side that we are building towards. And Jason have been a key part, otherwise we would not have been able to leverage there.
So two key points to share. One I think is really impactful, which is, does anybody know the percentage of fishery released fish from DFW that end up on our plates in the form of wild coho and king and other types of salmon, or that you might see flying around at Pike's Place? Over 90%.
Wow.
Huge impact across the region. Going back to the public-private partnership that Bill was actually talking about this morning, I think a great example of this program was actually at risk. Mubina actually, for her part, found this UW program that if we could invest on the AWS side and we provided $25K in funding, they would lean in with interns to really help the development work continue. So although DFW didn't have as many resources as they wanted to get all of these things off the ground, we leaned in with that funding, with AWS credits, and with our technical resources to spool these people up. So we had our first meeting last week with the UW interns. They are super excited to get started. What I love about this is it's going to bring them into this world of what DFW does. Guaranteed they're going to get excited about the work that's being done. When you start talking to Matt Orm about pygmy rabbits or pikas or pikas, I tell you what, his eyes light up and I can see why. So it's exciting work.
To add to Jason paid for the first program and then we were able to go back and negotiate. So the first one was $25K for the students. The second one was the same thing. And we were able to cut the price in half and do both of the projects. So thank you for supporting us on the initial funding side.
some fantastic programs and partnerships. And now we're going to hear from Emily and Tim.
All right, thank you. So I think we have only 2 slides, I believe, and we'll make up some time.
Oh yeah, no, I think we're fine. I'm assuming we get like at least 10 extra minutes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Bill will set that tone. Bill will set that tone. Thank you. Amazing work. Great to hear about this. So we're here on behalf of the One Washington Project, which is the state's replacement of our financial systems, so financial HR, procurement, eventually, and some budget systems. This project has been going on for 10 years. Thank you. Okay, thank you. There we go. Which is a long time, right? And so when Bill asked for us to join the panel today, just thinking a lot about modernization and a couple takeaways. For one thing, I wasn't born when AFRS was born, I believe. So you can see up there, for those of you, I'm going to date myself though. So on the left hand there, that is our current AFRS screen that our employees are working in every single day. A lot like Atari, which I don't think many of us miss. I do miss Duck Hunt. And then there on the right is a modern ERP solution that we're embarking on with Workday, right? So when you think about the lessons learned, I think one that I will carry with me forever going forward is that it is so critical for us as states to not let things get this old, because the modernization is so much more difficult when you are dealing with technology from 40 years ago. There are not people going to school right now who could come in and help us support these programs. So as AFRS is approaching its end of life, thing one, we waited way too long, right? Thing two, we're going to get there. We are going to, through a lot of collaboration efforts with agencies, with our team, with Workday and our partners. We'll talk a little bit more. Although it is a tremendous struggle to go from Atari, right, to, I don't know what we're calling the other one, Super Nintendo. That's going to date me too. I don't play video games anymore. So a couple things is, so lesson one is don't do this, right? We are all the future generations of leaders in this state, and this is something that we need to really pay attention to, not to pass along technical debt and issues like this to the point where it's end of life and now we're desperate and we've got to make a lot of big, expensive decisions. So that's thing one. Next, it's so much more than upgrading a system. As I sit and look at our work, it's about mindsets, it's about workflows, it's about culture a lot, right? It's about folks who have not had to do something different for so long. It can be extra difficult to navigate change and to paint a picture of what the future will look like for them. And so that's part of what I want to talk about with collaboration with Workday and some of the environments that we've been able to bring forward. So the AWE Agency Workday environment is one of them that we're celebrating right now. So our One Washington art team, in partnership with Workday, has done a fantastic job developing an environment where agencies get in and go from Atari to have a visualization of what their job will be in the future, right? So in addition to that, it's really been critical for us to look at our partnerships, breaking down silos across our oversight, right? So our WATEC teams that support us on this project, breaking down silos with our system integrator, working really, really closely with Workday as our solution partners to make sure that we aren't letting issues fester, right? So we've just come out of a big program reset, and one of the biggest learnings around collaboration is that the lack of collaboration at many times has been at the root of why some things have taken so long or why we haven't been able to hit issues head on. So we are changing that, and I'm really pleased to say that the synergy and the energy that's coming from that increased, enhanced focus on collaboration has been fantastic. And part of that is a people shift, right? No one likes to sit in a room and hear their oversight consultant, pick apart their thing or, give advice that might be contrary. And I think as leaders, it's really important for us to watch for those moments and make sure that we are open, that we are embracing those things. And we might not always agree on everything, and that's okay. Bill and I don't agree on everything. But at the end of the day, we're still partners. We're working closely together, and we get there, right? And so I wanted to say that about collaboration. The accelerating decision-making has been another part of the modernization. When something is so new and so nebulous that people can't picture it, we have a tendency to partner, get everybody's opinion, all of those things. It's really been critical to find a balance between where do we just need to own and drive the solution, and where are those really unique special places where we absolutely need to socialize, get consensus, provide a vision for the end users, right? So that's another learning for us as we're looking to accelerate and get towards go live. So I will toss it over to Tim here. Thank you for being here, Tim. In Olympia.
Thank you. I'm still a little bummed about Bigfoot, but I'll get over it. But so what we've learned in this is you're absolutely right, Emily. Going from version 1 of something to something modern is really hard. So we've had much better success with customers going from version 2 like PeopleSoft to Workday than we have. This is really hard. So we've learned that with you. The other thing I would say that we've learned is vendors, like I just heard from Cami and Jason, we really do want to lean in and partner. The days when you would drop off the server and drop off the CD and say, see you later, those are long gone, right? We really do want to partner. And for us, it's our entire company. We have strategy folks involved. We have technical folks involved. We have executives involved. We have our product team involved. My team told me that we've made 35 enhancements to our software for the state of Washington, which is kind of unheard of to have a state say, we want you to make 35 enhancements. We add it to the product, all customers get it, right? So the whole company is leaning forward. And I guess the one thing I would want everybody to this is Tim, not Workday, the level of partnership with vendors and customers needs to be enhanced because innovation is coming so rapidly and so fast. Every day, every week, there's a new LLM out, there's a new something. So you're going to need to partner. If Emily says to me, hey, Workday announced a new financial close agent, and they also announced a new audit agent, what do you think? I'd say, Emily, I have no idea. Let's figure this out together because it's out, and we don't have a lot of experience in government running agents. So there's going to be a lot more need to collaborate. I heard a lot of that from both of my other vendor partners up here. A lot more need to collaborate more now than ever as we move faster, not slower.
You're
good.
Oh yeah, you.
We give you time back.
Yeah.
I think you wanted to find the question.
Yeah, So we have a few questions, and then we're happy to take audience questions as well. But one of the questions I think and themes that you've all sort of touched on is obviously the importance of collaboration. But can you talk a little bit more about, and this is for anybody on the panel, about where collaboration was especially critical for navigating challenges, like in the project process or trying to get things off the ground or the funding? Like, is there any specific place where you think it was really pivotal?
I'm happy to get an attempt at that. Yeah. So I would say most recently for the One Washington project, it has been pivotal as we have done a reset, right? We missed our go live last July. It was a big moment of reflection as a program. We did a root cause analysis, and coming out of that, I would say, almost more than technical solutions and requests for funding, the collaboration actually has been what has made the difference. And so specifically, embracing the constructive feedback of what we needed to change, right? And it can be really hard to do hard things as a program. Everyone's working really hard. We've got great people doing great work. But sometimes just the nature of the environment or the complexity we've created around the environment can get in our way. And so being able to be open to hear a multitude of voices about what needs to change has been a game changer.
Awesome. Anybody else? Yeah, Jason?
Yeah, I think, and I talked about this before, maybe in the last session that I was on, that Matt and Mobina have done a great job of bringing their people on board in this journey. Typically, what happens is we get the program, the line of business, the end user of a functional system we're trying to modernize, excited about something we can do. And they run to IT and they're like, look, they're at the door, they're knocking, and IT opens the door and they're like, why are you trying to bring that polar bear into my house? It's cute, I know it's a cub, it's tiny, I don't know what it eats, I don't know how to feed it, it's gonna weigh 1,000 pounds in 6 months, it's gonna tear my house apart, no way is that thing coming inside. So I think that collaboration early on is really critical between IT and the line of business to make sure that they're both being heard, that they're both supporting each other, and that doesn't happen. I think that's why at DFW it's working so incredibly well, is because Matt probably looked at the org and brought people along on this journey right from the very beginning. And there's still resistance, don't get me wrong, but when they see the tools the excitement, the eyes lighting up is like, oh, I have access to all that data and I can just use natural language to query it. Being able to share that in real life for them, almost to Wendy's point, being able to show them Gen 1.0 and go, this is what we're trying to get to. It's amazing how many of those barriers just fall away, and that change
Jason,
piece.
I think when they come to you and say, we want to do this, you're like, I have no idea if we can do this. Let's try it, right? You're like, let's go together,
Well,
right?
yes. However, our combination of services, like if you literally, Bill came to me and said, hey, we want to get Governor Ferguson on the moon tomorrow. He came to the right person probably to try and figure that out, right? So the challenge for us is like, okay, there's probably 20 ways for us to do it. We have to do it securely under a compliance framework with a budget in mind. And that's where I think the real challenge starts to come up, and how we think about things is we can do things a variety of ways, but we got to do it the way that is going to meet the customer where they're at today. But great point.
Wendy, did you
Yeah,
have?
I'll answer.
Yeah.
So for us, I think we couldn't have done anything that we've done today without collaboration. We requested 2 development teams, like 2 fully stacked teams, to build this humongous thing that we were trying to build. We got 2 people. So, or I shouldn't say so, yet. In the last year, we have developed our roadmap, we have developed a pilot system, and a year from the time roadmap is done, we are going to release an open beta of law.gov. We have made all of that progress because of our partners, many of which are at the table today and in the room today, right? We couldn't have done it, just hiring and building positions and all of that in state government is hard. It's a lengthy process. You need the money for it, right? There's a lot to that. We would have probably still been building that today, but we've accomplished all of this. So, hands down, can't do it without y'all.
I'd like to add that not just partnership with our vendors, but within our organization. And that has been one reason that we are so successful in leaning in. Now, when we go to our executives and say, I want to do this, I want to do this ML, we have already shown them that leveraging AI, we can solve some of their longstanding problems. So, and then having a partner like Jason available to our teams. The other day we were talking to him about building a catalog, and his team came back to us and said, you're talking to building a catalog on a tool that's older. Here's a new, better tool that will be most cost effective and most optimal to get to where you want to go. Our teams don't know what we don't know, and we do lean into those partnerships and those engagements to get the optimal results.
So yes, thank you so much for bringing that up. And I think that draws on another important point, which is, where do you think some of these innovations may be transferable or scalable across other projects? Do you have any ideas or thoughts about other uses where we can build on successes?
Of course, one of the examples I shared, for example, extracting data from PDF, converting it to a tabular format. One of my peers told me at that time, they were like, oh, but the data is not consistent. And up until that point, it was just an opinion. But with that data in place, in our hands, in a tabular format, that becomes a solid. It's not an opinion anymore. It's a proof. How do we grow and improve from their standpoint? That becomes easier. So extracting data from PDF, Jason's team or other teams who are able to do that's a possibility that's available at our fingertips. Decades old data and not being able to have that in a concise information, that challenge is very solvable. And I just shared within 4 hours, one technical person, and that's now at your fingertips. So the growth, we are at the turn of a technology where not just change is happening rapidly, but some of our long-standing problems can be solved very efficiently in an optimal manner with a very short amount of resources that we have to invest in. So scalability is definitely there.
And reusable solutions. Like, we all need data out of PDFs, right? Like the reuse of that seems like just humongous. For us, everything that we are designing as part of this new Modernizing customer experience, we're considering if it can be useful to everyone else, right? If it can be an enterprise service. To Bill's points earlier, we should be looking at the enterprise first. If one of us has a little money that we can invest in something, let's invest it and then offer it to our agency partners, right? So that they can benefit from it too, instead of us all just doing our own thing. So the things that we're building, like our AI chatbot, no longer Bigfoot, Ask Claw, will be offered to you all so you can utilize it. We're using your amazing content that's out there in the world, right? So why shouldn't you be able to also utilize that tool? And everything that we're building together, we're looking for ways that we can share it so you all can benefit too.
It also extends to the user research that we're doing as part of building those things. Like the purpose of WA.gov is to help amplify and drive more people to agencies' services. And so the research we're doing on how people engage with government digitally, what they expect out of chatbots, how they want to use AI with their data, with government. All of that is information that is completely applicable to all of the agencies.
1,000%. So good.
Okay, I just have sorry, Susan, did you have I have one more question and then we'll turn it over to the audience. So how are you all measuring success in your modernization efforts?
Go live.
This is one standard.
For us, the success turns into when our executives who first played with that Q app now are asking their staff to come talk to us about it's that light bulb moment in their head. For example, we were approached by hydraulics team the other day. Anyone who built something on and around water have to have a permit from DFW. So the compliance of that permit and to make sure that it's not hindering in the fish passage. There is so much case studies and historic data that a new person coming in and joining the team did not know how to go through the vast data. Putting that in an app that is, if they ask for Katy and all the related older use cases come up, all the AG direction come up, all the RCWs come up, having that information at the fingertips of those decision makers is a success that it can be replicated.
Yeah, human-centered design, a lot of our success is measured by the impact that we have on the humans that we're designing for. So for WA.gov, we have, through research, identified UX outcomes, which are clear statements of pass or fail. Did you accomplish this thing that is meant to improve someone's life? And we're working towards accomplishing those things. And I would say until we have done that, we wouldn't say that we've been successful.
On top of that, we are utilizing, Callie mentioned this earlier, Qualtrics to continually collect customer experience data throughout the journey, both on WA.gov today and as we launch the new products, so that we can continually measure. And another thing we're trying to get across the enterprise so that we can measure not only when a user is on WA.gov, but as they continue their journey into agency websites and applications as well.
Awesome.
We love data.
Are there any audience questions? The panel? Kelly, should I take them out?
I can project if you like.
We can hear you.
We can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, we can hear you, Kelly. Or I don't know if the camera needs it.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. So the partnership between the agencies and the vendors. So what I'm curious about are the barriers you had to break down between the agency practices and the vendor practices before you were able to get to that partnership position.
I can share a little bit. Right?
Go ahead.
So we tend to love process, right? And red tape at times. And so I think one of the big things that we found was not being so concerned about risk in conversations, right? So sometimes there's like, oh, I'm not sure we can talk about that because of the risk, or what does the contract say? Or so we tend to really stick true or hold on maybe too tightly to some of those constraints. versus when you're building a relationship with a vendor and you've got that mutual trust, you're able to address issues more proactively, get right down to what actually matters. And it's less about like, what did we just ink, right? So for One Washington, we've spent years in contract deadlock at times, right? Depending on whether it was our SI vendor or other vendors. And you know, going forward, we don't have the time for that, right? So we've got to be focused on the collaboration in these relationships so that we can work together to get the work done and bring agencies along. So I would just say, as leaders, being aware of maybe some false walls there, or where we're spending time on the wrong things versus just enhancing the relationship, being open and honest about issues and resolving them.
Yeah, I would agree. It's certainly a different conversation when it comes to this is what concerns me as opposed to here's what the contract says, right? Let's get right down to what really matters.
Yeah.
We can deal with the contract later, but let's deal with what's important.
Absolutely.
For us, I'm sorry. Okay, thank you. For us, AWS has been our partner, as I said, roughly 2 years ago when we started standing up the AWS landing zone. We started working with Jason and his team. We were like, we're going to move everything from the state data center and move it to the cloud. And we pivoted. We did not have the funding. We did not get the funding approved. So we created an AWS landing zone where we are able to do new initiatives and new work and maintaining our state data center. Jason talked about some of the vision that Matt have for DFW and in the long run. But and together we have created a list, and we have individual lists, and then AWS has maintained a list for DFW. And even if we go back to chip away a small thing, a small initiative, and make a step in the right direction, we have been able to do that with their partnership. So patience at their end, not pushing in, working at our pace, and working with us as we navigate the financial constraints, which we are all in, has been a really great support.
I'll just call out in case you caught that. There's definitely not much benefit in lifting and shifting your on-prem workloads into the cloud. Think about what you want the end state to look like, and think about where the modernization is going to be. If it follows fast on the heels of that migration to the cloud, that's okay to get your people comfortable with the concepts and managing the security and compliance. But otherwise, think about modernization as part of that shift to cloud.
I just had a little bit something maybe more tactical to share when it comes to collaboration. Intense collaboration requires a lot of communication, and your tools are really important. What you're using to communicate and collaborate and make sure you're all on the same page. And sometimes the challenge there is access, agency tools and vendor tools, and then getting everybody access to the same stuff. I think slows people down a bit. So that's something to pay attention to.
Awesome. I don't know how much time we have. Any more questions?
When the saw going away.
He's a plant.
That's a plan.
Saab will be gone. We will say goodbye to Saab early 2028. We got 2 years, my friends. It is not very long, but we can do it. That's right.
Anything else before we wrap up? So I just want to highlight a few of the themes. Thank you to the panel, but one of the themes I was hearing that I think is important for everybody to take away is that modernization isn't just one big bang. You can get there with incremental process, and it can come with small successes and maybe even quick failures and listening, and then re-upping our game. So I think that's excellent. I love the fact that we don't want to be in carrying technical debt that then makes it harder and more expensive for everybody. And then the focus on collaboration and culture as pivotal to everybody's success, I think, has been an important lesson for all of these great case studies. So let's give a round of applause to our